Recording in progress.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Tuesday, July 21st meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Thank you, everyone. Our first order of business, opening and reading of bids, Project W-92602, the Capitol Avenue Corridor Utility Expansion, Procurement Package Number 1.
Good evening, Bill Shalio here as part of Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth. We have a bid to open for Project W-92602. This is part of the Microsoft project. I'm going to let Jamie open these up real quick. I guess the question would be, are there any additional bids that have not been received? Seeing none, we'll open the bid, and then we would ask for your approval to accept the bids, and then we'd like the opportunity to review them, and if it fits within the budget, we'd like to award tonight if possible at the end of the meeting, please.
All right, so I'm Jamie Kocheki with DLZ. Received one bid. This one is from Ferguson Waterworks. The total amount of bid is $865,507.39. And then we'll go ahead and review these and make a recommendation.
So again, we would ask for you to accept this bid and then allow us the opportunity to review and, if available, award, please.
Gentlemen, do we have a motion to accept the bid and have them come back with a recommendation later in the meeting?
So moved. Second. We have motion and second. Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, approval of the accounts payable docket. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen? Aye. Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item is Resolution R-11-C-2026 for Bishop Donald Alford. Gentlemen, I would ask for a motion that we table this. We need a little more time to actually prepare the resolution.
Motion to table.
Second. Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen? Aye. Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
The item is tabled.
Next, approval of access and right-of-way agreement with Milestone Contractors for State Road 2 Larison Boulevard Interchange Project. And I know, Dan, you wish to make a comment.
Good evening, Commissioners. Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. There happens to be a pause on the Midwest Continental Divide, I'm sure you guys are aware of. Also a pause on the GM Samsung project in New Carlisle, which was a major reason for the need for this interchange because of all the semi-traffic with raw materials coming in and finished product going out from the Samsung GM plant. However, there's the pause with GM Samsung right now. It would seem financially responsible to put a pause on this $50 million project of the Diverging Diamond. We hear the funding is approved. Let me give you an example. Town on this side of a river, nothing over here but a cornfield, and all of a sudden, New York City comes up on the other side of the river one night. We don't want to drive 20 miles to the south, cross over that bridge and come back to the north. Can you build us a bridge, state of Indiana? Sure, we'll do that. They get the funding approved to go to sleep tonight, act of God, river dries up, fills in. Just because the funding has been approved, do we still build the bridge? The bridge has gone away. At this point, there is no reason to build this diverging diamond or proceed with any of these projects attached to it, because we're not sure what's going on with that. So we can pause these other projects. Let's pause this project and everything associated with it until we know what's happening there. Thank you.
Before we take a vote on that, I think we need to address this a little bit. Bill, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I apologize that I missed my agenda item. So the approval is just to allow one of the 4 properties that we acquired to be used as a construction house, instead of putting up a construction trailer in a construction site. This is one of the 4 houses, or one of the 5 houses we bought in the northeast quadrant of this intersection at 2 and Larison. It will be used as a construction trailer. So we're asking for your approval to allow for that through the length of the project. A couple other things to note. This intersection is long overdue for improvement. The only trucks, I think it was just represented that the only trucks that were going to use this intersection were the ones from the GM project. 100% of the steel that comes into Tech and Coat, Cleveland Cliffs Tech and Coat, comes in by rail. 100% of that steel leaves by truck. We have R&L carriers that have trucks in and out. We have the scrapyard. We have Just Packaging. We have Edcoat that have truck traffic in and out a day. So I want to clear up a misrepresentation that it's only, that this diverging diamond is only being built for this one user. I would also note that as of Thursday, there will be an announcement that there's over 1,000 employees at the AWS campus. So we have 1,000 employees coming to the campus area on a daily basis. So we have not only truck traffic on a regular basis, but we also have a heavy amount of car traffic. And that number is going to continue because they only have 7 active buildings at this point in time and could build as many as 32. So we have a need for an intersection improvement at this intersection. This project is set to go. It's set to be complete largely by 2027, by the end of 2027, early 2028. So this is a good project. I would also note that it has been mentioned before that if we do this improvement, this is going to cause additional development out in that area. Yes, it probably will, and it's where you want the development to happen, in an area where there's utilities, in an area that's largely been set up for this type of use. So there will be more development. This intersection will cause that. We know that there's a commercial project being proposed at the southeast quadrant of this intersection at 2 and Larison. AWS is going to build phase 2 of their southern campus starting this year. So there will be more development in this area, and we must be responsible in our intersection development design, and so partnering with the state to do this is a very prudent decision at this point in time. So again, today's action is really related to just using one of the 4 properties as a construction trailer, but if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I didn't grow up in New York, but I don't believe it was created in a day. Rome was, per the old phrase, but not New York.
Well, while you both have interesting points and analogies, I feel like I need to weigh in here too. We've heard of this argument over and over and over again. We have an agreement with the state to do this project. If anybody thinks that the GM project being on pause is going to go away, that project might go away. But we have a building that's 3/4 finished, and somebody is going to occupy that building. Dan, you had your time, and you're certainly welcome at the next meeting to again voice your concerns about this interchange. But we also have an agreement with GM to have this done by the end of 2027, and we're not going to pause this.
What if the GM
We're
has
m-
the same number
we're
of employees
moving.
as the Energy Center, 20?
We're-
What if the people coming in
Dan,
have
we're
20?
not going to debate this at this point. As I said, you had a chance to make a statement. We appreciate your statement. And on an agenda item, you can't bring it up under public comment, but you certainly can again, I'm sure you will, next week. Now, to the question at hand, approval of the access and right-of-way agreement with Milestone Contractors for the State Road 2 Larison Boulevard Interchange Project, as you heard, to be used as a construction office temporarily. Do we have a motion to approve?
I have a question. It was stated before that the study that was done a while back, before the pause on GM and things like that, I believe someone asked, would it make sense to do an updated study because of some changes in that area? Because, if I'm not mistaken, the diamond divergent is not the only option. So, I mean, did anybody consider contacting the state to do an updated study based upon the changes?
Yeah, so I would say that we went through a whole series of iteration of intersection designs. The diverging diamond is the preferred intersection design at this point in time by NDOT for these type of situations. It actually is a smaller footprint than the traditional cloverleaf intersections and some of those. The numbers that were done as part of the traffic study, originally done by Lockmuller, as part of the GM project, were done pre-AWS numbers. So if you add thousands or, 1,500 employees to that number, that's only going to support this intersection that's being proposed today.
But to answer my question, an updated study was not done?
No, once we got to the diverging diamond, it had been designed. It was the one that met the requirements most appropriately. So there has not been
According to NDOT.
I have to trust my engineers when so they reviewed all of the numbers. They went through all sorts of iterations of different intersection designs. This was the one that was the most appropriate based on traffic counts, the number of vehicles in and out, all those kind of things, so.
According to, you just said your engineers? or-
Well, the engineers working for NDOT
Okay,
and
all right,
for,
I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding.
Yep.
All right, so
I-
according to
I-
NDOT,
Yeah, I want to be clear, I'm not an engineer. I don't, that gene skipped me in my family, so.
well, you said my engineers.
Well, the
so it
ones
was-
that are part of the team, the larger team.
But
So-
engineers from NDOT.
Correct, engineers from
Just
NDOT,
trying- I'm just
yes.
trying to clarify it
Yep.
for the record.
Nope, perfect, yes, that is correct.
Gentlemen, any other questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to IPG, approval of contract change order number 1 with Reith Riley for project RNS 92601D, Community Crossings Matching Grant for resurfacing, rehabilitation of various roads.
Good evening. Adam Villas, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th, 11th floor. I'm requesting approval of change order number 1 as part of our mainline paving package, which is CCMG, the Community Crossings Matching Grant. We were able to add a quarter-mile section of Darden in the north central part of the county, which had an existing Pazer of 2, and it was a small section in between 2 sections that were higher rated at Pacer, so we were able to add that small section in, which was good. And then we added curb and gutter on Jewel Avenue on the south part of the county to help mitigate some of the drainage issues that we were seeing over the Phillips Ditch area. And then we're paving Jewel Avenue as well there too.
So what brought about this extra, basically $70,000 in addition? What, can you elaborate a little bit more?
We have been looking at Darden for a couple of years now, but it was just a small section. So when we put out these paving packages, putting out the larger mile, half mile, 1 mile strips is where you get the best pricing. And when we put these out, when we add this change order in, we get the same unit pricing. So we had good unit prices this year, so we wanted to add in that small section there. And now, the larger section up there at Darden is rated higher, so we can, have less maintenance, in the future for it.
So this is matching grant, do we get extra grant money?
This part will not. So anything we add in after is not included in the 50-50 split.
And Adam, what fund is the $69,575 coming from?
I believe it'll come from the typical
Sure. The regular budget
paving
for the
for the
paving.
streets. Yeah,
So if I'm understanding what you're saying, by including these two in the community crossings, it enabled us to get a better price, better unit price,
yes,
than if we had bid these separately.
yes. The smaller you bid, the higher your price usually is per unit.
I'd like to make a motion to table this. Unless you guys know something I don't.
I don't see how taking an action that gets a better price for the taxpayers is a concern, but if you feel that we need to dig into this a little
I don't
more.
have a problem at all with getting a better price as far as a pricing scale for the taxpayers. That's not why I'm suggesting the table it. That's just me. If you guys want to go ahead with it,
You
that's
have a-
fine.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. I suggest we call for the vote.
Is there a second to the motion?
Tony seconded.
Second? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to the next item. Thanks, Adam. We'll get back with you. Approval of the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to our public defender. Approval of internship agreement with Mateus Webb for supportive administrative services. Anybody speaking on this?
I believe they were supposed to be here, I'm not sure.
We told them.
Yeah, we told him
We definitely told them.
So
And I suggest
this was tabled last week, so
we'll
it'll just
leave
stay
it
tabled.
tabled. Okay, zipping right along. PSAP 911, approval of the annual subscription renewal with Network Solutions for VM backup, recovery, and data protection services. I know you're here, Sal.
Yeah, yes, I am. Good evening, Commissioner Sal Parisi, Information Technology, St. Joseph County 911 Center, located at 58266 Downey Avenue, Mishawaka. The VEAM renewal, St. Joseph County 911 Center is asking the board for approval for our annual VEAM renewal. VEAM is our backup recovery data protection software for our servers and workstations that we have at our primary and backup dispatch centers. The renewal allows us to use VEAM for data protection from many different data loss scenarios. Renewal is important as it ensures our systems can be restored quickly from backups when needed. Happy to answer any questions.
Gentlemen, any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the annual subscription with Network Solutions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Glad you didn't go away, Sal. Approval of the annual subscription renewal with Network Solutions for SmartNet, true-up licensing and support services.
So we're asking for your approval for our 2026 SmartNet Annual renewal for our servers and infrastructure. This renewal specifically is for our core infrastructure, such as our servers, server storage, our SAN, network switches, and software. The renewal allows us to obtain hardware warranty and service replacements if needed, security updates and upgrade for our hardware and software, as well as open TAT cases when software or hardware issues arise. Renewing will also allow us to lock in lower pricing for the year before the prices go up for the same services on July 26th, actually. So a few days. Happy to answer any questions on this one.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And we will move on to the prosecutor. Approval of ratification of application request to the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Violence Against Women, for a stop grant continuance. I'm not feeling the love here. Well, this was I know a little bit about this because we've done it every year. This is a ratification of a continuation, Fund 8106 for the fiscal year starting this October through the end of September of next year. It requires a 25% match of $57,098 and is included in the prosecutor's 2026 budget. So the money is available, has been allocated, and they're asking for us to ratify the application to continue the STOP Grant Fund through the Office of Violence Against Women. As one of three, I don't see any reason not to
I don't either.
go ahead and
I don't
approve
either.
this.
A grant, number one, and what it's for, number two, so. And number three, it's a continuance.
Tony, any problems? Therefore, do we have a motion to approve the application request to the U.S. Department of Justice?
Motion to approve.
Second. Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Before we go on to privilege of the floor, public comments, Mr. Shalio, do you have a report back on the Capitol Avenue Corridor Utility Expansion procurement package?
Yes, sir. A total of one bid was received for the Capitol Avenue Corridor Utility Expansion Procurement Package Number 1 from Ferguson Waterworks in the amount of $865,507.39, 865,507.39. Staff would request the approval of this bid. I would note that the funds for this project are being paid for out of MOU number 1 between Microsoft and the county and the city of Mishawaka, so we'd ask for your approval of this.
Any feeling as to why we only received one bid?
I do not.
How does the total amount relate to the engineer's estimate? Did we have an engineer's estimate?
Yeah, so the engineer's estimate was around $1 million. So let me make a little clarification what this is. This is early procurement package number 1. We're buying pipes and valves and hydrants and switches and all sorts of water-related stuff. So it's, the estimate was based off of, the engineer's estimate was based off best available information. So to come in under is a big help for the project.
I'm glad you said under. In my previous life, when we only had one bid, if it was over, cause for concern.
I'd be a lot more panicked if we only had an overbid. This is a good bid.
Gentlemen, do we have a motion to approve procurement package number 1?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now we will move on to public comments.
Good evening, Commissioners. Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. I've been hanging with my farmer friends here lately, particularly down that Mayflower Road bypass area, talk of the Midwest Continental Divide. And not to be critical of my friends in the press, but I say that this was an absolute understatement that opinion is split on the multi-use trail. Split is 52-48, 60-40. This is like 162 to 7. That is not a split. This is like the Bears 100, the Packers 3. It is not even close. This whole thing was handled completely wrong. I'm so glad you paused this. I wish that they would pull the bill down at state. I hope that happens, because the first person you have to talk to are the landowners. And you're just bringing the landowners in now and saying, well, what do you think about us running this project across your property? Wait a minute. And then you got to go a half a mile each side of the trail where you can't put down pesticides because there will be people walking on the trail and they could get sick. What other restrictions would they put on this, along with taking the farmland? And there's talk in this plan of eminent domain from people who don't want to participate. This is America. You come and say you're going to take a piece of my backyard for some non-essential project, there's going to be a fight. This project needs to go back to square one if you still even want to carry it through, because I think we know the feelings of the farmers involved in this that would be involved in this project. You want to go back and go talk to them at the very start and say, guys interested in this? No? Okay, we'll go somewhere else. But it's not an essential where eminent domain has to take place. It's somebody putting in a recreational project for, not me, to go out and use this trail to go from the Dinosaur Museum down to Potato Creek. Totally pointless for me, and totally pointless for a lot of people, including the youngsters in New Carlisle who, if you make the thing golf cart accessible, they'll use it. But this whole thing was just handled completely wrong. And if you're still going to go through with it after the election, go back and start with the farmers. Thank you.
Anyone else online wish to offer a comment? Anyone online wish to offer a comment? Oh, I'm sorry.
I actually have a Juris Doctorate, but if you don't mind, I'm going to sit on my use step just for the condition that I have. It's not out of disrespect or deference, if that's all right with you.
Of course.
Give me 1 moment, please. I need all 3 minutes.
Please pull the microphone over
Oh, I can move closer to it.
or move closer, whatever's easiest for you.
How does this?
Perfect.
Okay, I would like to begin, please. My name is. I am a Juris Doctorate. I'm an MSW candidate. I'm a 2014 ICLEO Fellow. I have high regards in every esteem that I'm in, and I'm currently sitting halfway through the MSW program right now on academic leave while I wait for some surgery. I would like to put an official bid in for Portage Manor. It's my understanding that the academy has come in and would like to turn it into a for-profit school. I would like to turn it into a 501c3 nonprofit that functions as a human trafficking R&R survivor retreat. I think that we should take half of the walls out so that they turn into small efficiencies that are similar to what you would see in an upscale Notre Dame hotel. I think that this would provide autonomy to all of our men, women, and children that have been trafficked. I believe that it is irresponsible of us to not use this property while not addressing the fact that we are, in fact, the highway corridor for trafficking in our Midwest region. We are the city that is in between Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, and Indianapolis. We can put an end to this. And before you ask where the money is going to come from, I believe that we should use the back 28 panels, 28 acres that are currently sitting on the land off of the toll road, where it's currently agricultural and we have nothing growing there, so it is no harm to the trees. And I believe that we should actually partner with Great Wolf Lodge. They do micro scales for, hear me out, they do micro scale size ones that are 20 to 28. When it is in the vicinity of a provider on a grant side for a hospital that provides for children. Not only would it be 3.5 miles from the Riley Children's Center, it would be in the backyard of the survivors themselves. I believe that we should lease it to them as a nonprofit for $1 a year, that we should put them on an in lease for 3% of their proceeds. I don't actually have to do the math for you to prove that this would be beneficial because their advisors have already publicly stated, and it's available on their website, that when they choose to partner, that it actually brings in, on average, a revenue of $33 million a year for the economic industry that it's in. We don't have to worry about it harming houses because it's on the toll road. We don't have to worry about where we're going to fund it because I've already reached out to Dr. Moyo at the IUSB School of South Bend and asked if she'd partner with me. You don't have to worry that I might not be sufficient on my own, despite the fact that I already have nonprofit board experience of several years, have already been a public outspoken advocate because as a fellow CLEO, I reached out and am now currently in negotiation with Xavier Pope in Chicago because he runs the Lilly Foundation there and is willing to help mentor me potentially up to the first 6 months of this. I would like to create a heritage center for survivors in the front to acknowledge the systemic addresses that we have, and I've already reached out to Pam Blair and asked her if she would work with me, and I'm waiting for a response. I just found out that this was available this morning, and I've done all this work since then. You will not find a better advocate. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no one else in the room who wishes to offer a comment, again, anybody online?
There's a hand in there, or no?
I don't see any hands. No hands.
Okay, sorry.
Thanks for the reminder. Let's, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Morton?
Aye.
Commissioner Hazen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Recording stopped.